many years ago, hearing Brother Cleveland Beckton share an illustration. And I've never forgotten it, and I've used it more than once. He told about sometime in the early 1970s, there was a problem that developed on the eastern seaboard of the United States. Some sort of interference with television signals along that very populated part of our country. People's televisions, they say, would suddenly change from whatever was on, and static would begin, and the picture would fade, and the sound would be overwhelmed, and it was really a bit frightening to people, because there was almost recognizable voices, and the picture would sometimes not clear, but you could almost make out that there was something there in that static, like something or someone was trying to break through and bring a message. It caused quite a bit of public reaction. The phone lines lit up, and the television broadcast stations were flooded with complaints and calls and so on. After a few nights of this, it became obvious that something had to be done. And over a period of several weeks, difficult, hard to find out what was happening, but over a period of weeks, they finally were able to isolate the signal, and they were able to identify what was happening, and they were able to reduce and eventually eliminate that interference so that people could go back to what they were wanting to watch and hear. They discovered some things that Brother Beckton shared with us that are astonishing to me. I've never really gotten over the surprise of that. They discovered that this was a television signal that somehow was strong enough that it was overwhelming the local broadcasts in several major cities in the United States. The incredible thing is the station whose signal was breaking into the regular programming was located in England. That somehow the signal from that station was getting up into the atmosphere somehow, high up, maybe the stratosphere, and somehow was bouncing thousands of miles. Just a relatively low-powered local television station, but its signal was somehow skipping through the atmosphere all the way across the Atlantic Ocean and interfering, trying to break in to broadcasts all the way into the United States. But the most astonishing thing was they found out that not only was that radio station located across the Atlantic in England, but that station had ceased broadcasting 5 years before its signal reached the United States. They never could understand how a signal like that could somehow linger in the atmosphere not only crossing vast distances, but leaping years of time and somehow attempt to break in to what was happening all those years later. Well, of course, when I think of this, I cannot help but wonder, could it be that prayers really never die? That somewhere up there, every prayer that has ever been offered before God still lives, its voice and its sound still echoing around this world and surrounding us with yesterday's passions. What if the sounds of praise never really fade? That when the service ends and the lights are out, there's still something resident of the children of God. Let me tell you, if God lives in the praises of his people, maybe those praises reach a place where they never ever fade, but those praises live on and on and on.